Hey guys, all right, let's get right into this. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are already aware that Brooklyn and Troy were on live together with Messy Maj. And now, a whole lot went down on this live, so I'm about to break it all down for y'all. But first, let me give you a backstory. Emily and Debo linked up, and apparently, Troy felt some sort of way about this, so therefore, he pulled up on Debo at their house. Now, keep in mind, this is all given very much stage, in which I think we all can conclude that this is stage. But anyway, Brooklyn went live and a lot of supporters wanted to know how she felt about this whole situation. And that's what led to Brooklyn and Troy being on the same live with Messy Maj, which also led to them having a conversation, which then led to Brooklyn speaking on her situation with Yanni. Alright, so this live initially starts off with Brooklyn and Troy going back and forth, debating whether or not this fight between Troy and Debo was actually real. But eventually they get into a real conversation, and that's what we're about to pick up on.
Could you apologize to them publicly? Sincerely at that?
I mean, at the end of the day, boundaries got crossed. You're definitely right. But you crossed boundaries too. Good, listen. The whole reason
What
why
boundaries did I cross?
boundaries got crossed in the first place, cause of you. Cause of you.
Because
you want the link with the stick. You want the link with the damn stick.
Wait, you can't. Hold on, because now I'm getting hot because I was back up and we're gonna have a mature conversation about it. Let's do that. First of all, me and Link, if y'all want to know the real, I told your mother and your sister I was linking with her way before I linked with her. And then you proceeded to say, okay, you want to link with her, go ahead. But this gonna happen. Anyways, me going to make content with somebody does not give you the right to cross the boundary that
but
you
Berlin,
crossed.
you was the one that
That
made
don't
this
even
song
add up.
first.
Okay, but that gave you the right to cross that boundary. You know exactly what boundary
we started talking. I mean, it got real deep though, like on some real shit though, because you was not, because y'all was talking about deceased people and all kinds of shit. So
y'all some people, I'm never going to do
it was
that.
like but that's what I'm saying though. That's what I'm saying. Things she do, she messing with. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
no, I didn't agree with that when it happened, and I still don't agree with it now. But yet, who arguing back and forth? But then I'm the one you cross boundaries on. Make that make sense. That don't make no sense. Can we have a public apology? Are you man enough to do that?
Miles, don't you think we should both apologize?
So now, just like I reported in my last video, the issues between Brooklyn and Troy really started because of Yanni. I mean, he felt some sort of way that she wanted to collab with Yanni, befriend Yanni, and when all hell broke loose, she took Yanni's side. Alright, so now we officially know that the only reason why Troy and his family were going after Brooklyn is because they thought that she was feeling the same type of way as Yanni, and that she was co-signing all the things that Yanni had to say. So therefore, they were on some like, okay, you feel that way too? Alright, bet. You know, we're gonna come at you too. And that's unfortunate for Brooklyn because she had nothing to do with this. The issues was between Yanni, Troy, and his family. It had nothing to do with Brooklyn. Alright, so now after sorting all that out between those two, Maj tried to push this apology yet again, and you know, Troy was over there trolling. He did not really give much of an apology, but Brooklyn did have to be real with herself, and she did apologize to Troy for basically not believing him about Yanni. So y'all check this out.
The boundaries, okay? I shouldn't have done it. It went too far. I shouldn't have put it all over the internet because I knew it was gonna make you mad. And I shouldn't have done it. Okay. And that's why I'm saying I'm sorry. Now, I'm trying to say we move past this. Yeah.
Brooklyn, come a little closer. I'm about to whisper something in your ear. I'm gonna whisper. You gotta bear with him. Okay, there's certain things that you have to bear with. I know that you think that he is playing, but I think that deep down in his conscience that he is serious, and I think that was a real apology. I think some people like him you have to bear with, if you get what I'm saying.
Brooklyn, you think it was a real apology? Bruh, that was a real apology.
No,
so
Troy, because I know you.
Act like this off the cameras, or is it just when it's rolling? met you.
She wanna laugh so bad. She wanna laugh so bad.
Oh, when it's rolling. Okay. Okay.
When it's rolling.
So it's just
I'm gonna
this is him
keep it real.
and the cameras.
Yeah.
So
When
Troy,
this
why
live
can't
cut
you
off,
be the
you
real
don't be
Troy?
acting like that.
The Troy boy. So Brooklyn, you don't want to give him an apology only because you feel like that.
Um, I don't think I went as far as him and his family went, but I can say that I could apologize for not believing you. Hold on. I could apologize for not believing you.
This is getting good. I know what this is about.
Yanni.
Are you talking?
And I'm not on here to bash nobody. I've had great times with Yanni. That was my dog. Like, when I tell y'all, I had her at my house in Michigan around my family. This was my friend. Like, we did everything together with each other every single day. But some people just fall out over shit. And that's just that. And I will tell y'all, I didn't distance myself from her just over the situation in my room. I've been was feeling some type of way about a few other things, but then we had a conversation about it, and that's when we parted ways. But I definitely should have paid attention to the red flags when I did see them. I should have paid attention to them. But yeah, and I'm not on here to bash Yanni. I still love her. Like deep down, I still love her. Like, I don't need to bash her for nothing. But what I will say is my feelings were hurt when I heard the story about what had happened in my room, and she knows my feelings were hurt because when it had came out at first, I didn't fight her, or I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't do all that. Like, I actually cared for her and loved her, and she still was with me every single day after I found out the shit happened.
So yeah, it seems like there were way more issues going on between Yanni and Brooklyn that goes beyond what happened with her ex. Issues that she's not elaborating on. Like, she says nothing about what exactly were these things that she was upset about when it came to Yanni. What was the pile up? What really got her to this level? She doesn't even elaborate on any of that. She also, as y'all heard, acknowledging that she did not, pay attention to any red flags. And this is what I had said in my previous video. I felt like these two really bonded because they had an issue with Troy. I felt like they both were focusing on their beef with Troy, that they really looked past each other's red flags. So Brooklyn goes on to explain exactly what Troy had warned her about when it comes to Yanni. And then she also, lets it be known why she decided to befriend Yanni, despite what Troy and his entire family was telling her.
Brooklyn says she apologized because she didn't believe what you had told her. What was it that you told her?
Oh, when they fell out, when we fell out, the whole reason we was just telling her, like, watch out, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
They basically was just saying, watch out, you gonna see she's not who you think she is, this and that. But what I will say is I'm so real that I'm not finna not like somebody based off what somebody else say.
But that could also be
naive
too.
I'm gonna see for myself.
I feel like if you took it into consideration and then see for yourself, then that's a whole different story. But you just, I ain't gonna listen.
Okay, but you can't control what I do, and I chose to be friends with her, and I gained a great friend from it. But at the end of the day, shit just didn't happen to work out. And I learned from myself. People are in your life for a reason, and they're there for a season. They're not going to be in your life forever. People gonna show up, and God gonna show you a lesson, and then they gonna leave. and then another person gonna come in and it's gonna happen. It's gonna keep continuing.
So I think a lot of people can relate to what Brooklyn is saying. Like, you know what? I'm just not going to take someone's opinion about someone else and just basically go with that. I want to see for myself. That makes a lot of sense. But then I feel like you also need to be cautious because just like Joy said, that is a bit naive. At least consider what someone is saying to you about that person. I mean, an entire family was telling Brooklyn, hey, watch out. This is not what it is. She's not the person you think she is. So Brooklyn then goes on to elaborating a little bit more into why she cares for Yanni. Well, still cares about her and why she still has love for her, despite what happened between her and her ex.
Alive know what I'm talking about.
Because when you genuinely have love for somebody, you can't, as soon as something happens, you snap your fingers and all that love just go away. That shit don't happen. When you're in a toxic relationship and you finally break up with them, you still love that person.
So you always gonna have love for her,
loving somebody just because of something they did. Yes, I'm always gonna have love for Yanni because that was truly my friend. I didn't enter that friendship on anything malicious. That was
and things
my
like
friend.
that can honestly be, you know, heartbreaking to you only because of a situation like with your best friend and your ex.
To this day, I don't know what the truth is because I wasn't in the room. So y'all can't even ask me anything about that situation because I physically wasn't in the room. I didn't see anything with my eyes. So y'all can believe whatever side of the story y'all want to believe because it's always going to be two sides of a story. You just got to choose which one you want to believe.
Well,
and I chose not to believe
Brooklyn,
neither.
with that being said, I think we should introduce Yanni up here. She added and
No, Yanni did not go up on the panel. No, she didn't even want to be a part of any of this. In fact, she was just in the chat and she basically said, you know what the hell is going on here? But that was about it. Now, I want to go back to Brooklyn saying that she did not see Yanni and her ex in that bedroom. So my question is this. So when Michaela came out and made these accusations basically claiming that Yanni did this and that, Brooklyn came right behind her and co-signed it. Now, I'm trying to understand, how do you co-sign something that you don't know is true? You don't have any confirmation. You're saying that you don't believe other side. But now there's this narrative that Yanni has done this and that, but you don't really know for sure. I don't think that's really fair. Alright, so let's now get into this NDA. So Brooklyn goes into details as to why she had Yanni sign this NDA and when she had her sign it. Check this out.
Made her sign an NDA when it was the second day she was at my house. She spent the night at my house on February something. It was February something because it was finna be Valentine's Day or something like that. She stayed the night. The next day when we woke up, I made her sign an NDA because my mom was on the phone with my publicist talking business. Ain't no way I'm having someone I just welcome into my home listening to business calls, listening to shit I have to do. No, because that's where we're gonna cut that out. You're gonna sign the NDA because no, it's too much business, too much money. If she shit, I'm sick. I'm sorry, y'all. If she wanted me to sign an NDA, I most definitely would have signed one for her. She could have handed me the paper or sent me the link for the NDA, and I most definitely would have signed one because I know what it's for.
Now, would you ever use it against her if she did want to speak her truth? Whereas though she, you know, everyone heard your side of the situation, but they can't fully hear hers only because the NDA is involved with her situation. So you got on live to speak her side. Would you think that you or your mom would use that against her in future reference? If she speaks her side.
What I'm going to use against her? You want to say what happened? Let's say what happened. But don't have me in that shit. Don't come out with the, oh, I signed an NDA, so I can't speak on the situation. No, that situation didn't have nothing to do with me. It had something to do with you and my ex. Y'all already went back and forth on social media, posting subliminals, doing this, doing that. continue to do it if that's what y'all want to do, but I wasn't in that, so go ahead and talk.
So now everyone knows that Brooklyn was definitely willing to sign an NDA if Yanni had given her one. Okay, so we're over that now. But what I do find interesting is that when Maj asks Brooklyn, hey, if she were to come out and, tell her side of the story, would you and your mom, retaliate when it comes to this NDA? And Brooklyn responds back, solely focusing only on the situation between Yanni and her ex. Like, yeah, she can come out and say this. She can come out and say whatever she wants, but keep that between them two. I'm not involved in that. So I'm inclined to believe that this NDA, she really cannot speak about Brooklyn. And I say that because when Brooklyn dropped her song and spoke about her family business and her personal life, Yanni did not respond back with the same type of energy. Yanni did not expose anything about Brooklyn. So yeah. Maj now goes on to ask Brooklyn, whether or not this friendship can be fixed. Can they have a sit-down conversation? Can they work through this? Can they have a conversation? And this is what Brooklyn had to say.
That is a little bit hope still there.
What I will say is, right now, it's just too much going on in my mind, and my heart is hurt, and I don't want to have a sit-down conversation and it lead to something worse. If once I feel like I'm healed from the situation, then maybe that can happen. Because I never spoke on it ever, and I could have sat up here. I could have made a YouTube video, made some money off of it, did it that. But it's real feelings involved, y'all. When real feelings are involved, just like the hot seat I was gonna drop on Chris Debo and them, real feelings were involved. So I can't sit there and make a YouTube video just to make some money when I'm hurt in a situation. Like, I'm not finna do that. And if I love somebody, I love you too, Bama. If I love someone, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna go on and make a hot seat and bash you. No, that's just not the type of person I am. Because if I genuinely have love for you, I'm not going to do that. That little diss track shit, okay, it was in a moment because that's when everything was posted on the T pages. Everything was posted. And it's like, okay, at some point I gotta let something off my chest. And I'm an artist at the end of the day. I'm going to say what
So Brooklyn does not want to sit down with Yanni. And you know what? That's absolutely fine. Those are her feelings and she's entitled to them. But everything else she's saying over there is not making any sense, or at least not to me. Okay. Now she's talking about, like, when you have genuine feelings for your friends, that there's certain things that you're just not going to do. But then in the same breath, admit to doing those exact same things that she said she wouldn't do. That's not making any sense to me. Now I 100%, agree and support the fact that when you're an artist, you want to express yourself through your music. And Brooklyn is extremely talented. But when it comes to this song, it seems like the main goal and purpose was to expose and drag Yanni. I mean, that's what we're getting here. I'm sure, Brooklyn was able to, release some anger with it, but like, did the song really need to be released? Now, Brooklyn is claiming that, what really made her want to put out the song was because, everything was all over the net. Okay, well, Yanni didn't bring it to the net. Yanni didn't bring it online. That was Michaela, which is also a friend of Brooklyn's. So your friend brought this online. And when Yanni was going back and forth with Michaela and also, going back and forth with Brooklyn's ex, she never once spoke on Brooklyn. She kept that between them. So I'm not really sure exactly why the song was even released. And then you also have to take in consideration that, like, didn't the situation between Chris and Debo or whatever, wasn't that online as well? So where's their song? And she's talking about, when it came to their hot seat that she was going to do about them. Yeah, she didn't do it. So you spare them? Okay, and then we're now watching her on this live with Troy, who has said some of the most disgusting things about her. Like, literally, you can still go on YouTube and pull it up. Like, they're there forever. But she's sitting on this live with him. Anyway, but yeah, I don't really know about all this. And another thing, I mean, she's definitely making money off of this song. Well, this diss track that she put out towards Yanni. I mean, it's sitting on YouTube. So every click and a view is money being made off this song. Anyway, guys, that's really all I got for this video. Listen, I really want to know what y'all think about this entire video. And I hope y'all like the breakdown. I want to know, like, what y'all think about all these different topics we covered, which was, like, the NDA, the situation between her and Troy. I mean, literally everything. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let's have a conversation.